Now this is for those owners who have a 200E embroidery machine and you only have a 140 by 140 as your large hoop, but that doesn't exclude you from doing large designs. Now this is the design that I showed in the last 3 videos, and we've got it as far as the quarter mark. And if you remember, I digitized this side first, then I grouped it, I duplicated it rather, I flipped it horizontally, and then I rotated it into position and made certain it was in exactly the spot I wanted. Now at this stage it needs branching, so I go to Edit, Branching, and I give it a start and a stop point. So I'm going to start at this side and I'm going to finish it this side. Now it's branched, and now it's at this stage at which I can set my second stitch type, because it will have made 2 passes over this. The first pass it will always do in plain run line, which is single stitch. So I go into line stitch, and I can leave it as line stitch, or I can alter it to back stitch, satin line, single run line, stem stitch, or triple run. I like the back stitch. I'm going to tell it do that. Now this is where we need to copy and paste corners, but if I try to do that in this hoop, I'll end up in all kinds of trouble. But before I do that, I've got to put in, or I have to make a decision. Do I use an alignment line that I insert, or do I let the program do it for me? And sometimes I think it's better if you actually hand it over to the program. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my machine. It's only temporarily, and I'm going to select a different hoop. Then I'm going to move this, and I'm going to pop it in the top left hand quadrant. And the reason I put it there is because this likes to move things around the center point. So I click that, and there's our design. So I click OK, and then click into an empty spot in the hoop, and I then check very carefully that I haven't got any nasties that I don't want. Have I got any overlapping clumps of stitches? No. Right. So I open up my objects. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I come back up to my machine filter and I tell it 200E. And I ask it for my 140 by 140. Now of course the whole design is exactly in the wrong position. I mean, it couldn't be anything other than, could it? So I click on all 4 rather, and I temporarily group all 4. Now I can move these so that this first design sits in the 200E hoop. There it is. That's the first design. So now I hit combine. That will put me into the combine mode. And it's taking its own sweet time again. And I bring down a hoop. And I look at where my center mark is. That's the center of my hoop. So I want that to be reflected over on this side. I've only got one hoop, so I can't move that. So I bring down a second hoop. It brings me down a blue hoop. So I move the second hoop over using my right facing arrow key until the center mark of this, and that's the crosshairs, sit in approximately the same position as they are in the first one. And I think that's a teeny bit more, and we'll have it in. There we go. That's fine. Now I want a third hoop. And so I'd bring this one down with my down facing arrow key. And when I have the center hairs, oops, is that about right? A little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to move that across, because this is the order that I actually want them to stitch in. And when I've got that solid black line aligned with the dotted lines underneath, and that's it. When you see they've blanked out the blue dotted line and they've blanked out this blue dotted line. So now I bring down another hoop, and it's a brown one, and I bring him down with my arrow keys. And it's a little bit high, and I'm using the dotted lines here to let me know how far out it is. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now it's blotted out the red dotted line. I don't know if you can see it across there, and it's blotted out the green dotted line. So let's just pull back from that, and that's just 66%, but there you can see there's the whole design in 4 hoopings. So now I come out of combine mode. My program is complaining. It's been working very hard today. Okay, so there's my design, and I go to File, Save As, and oh, that's another design I was in. I don't want to be in there at all. I want to be in F, and there we go. And I want this to be a Jeff. And tell it, save. Okay, now that was the stitching order. So this is hoop 1. And in hoop 1, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 alignment marks, and they're in red. Now the alignment marks which we will be concentrating on are this one and this one, because they're inside the blue hoop, okay, which is the next stitching sequence, and maybe this one. So we go to the blue hoop. Now the green alignment lines are the ones that's the starting point. Okay, there's our green alignment line, and it's that one that we place over this one here. You see him? I've got my cursor over him at the moment, and he's in hoop number 1 in that position. Now I don't see another one down the bottom here on this. I only see that one green one. Okay, so I'm falling over my own tongue. These red alignment lines are new ones. So we go down to number 3. One. Actually, it's picking up the green thread there, so it must be putting in a stitch. There's the first jump, and it's hitting the first alignment mark by the center of the... No, it would have been there, look. Can you see it? That one. It's covering that one, and then it's covering this one, which is... I've no idea. And there's one. It must be one of these. Oh, it'll all make sense when you go put it together. Okay, there's a green alignment mark. There's a green alignment mark. There's a green alignment mark, and they all align up with previously stitched alignment marks. And there's no new red ones, and the reason there's no new red ones is because this is the last hooping. So now I can elect to save all my hoops. So that's what I'm going to do. And it says all hooping files were saved. Okay, so close that, and in the next video I'll show you how we put it all together again. And I'll close this first.